from the deepest depths of the dark web. Dark of the Night.
Mike's dead? Okay, cool. Welcome to Dark of the Night. Jeez, it's been a minute. Eric, good to be here with you.
Alex, good to be with you, even though we're not physically in the same space. We're psychically in exactly the same space.
Welcome to Dark of the Night. This is a special episode where we will be setting our agenda for the year. We are remoting in. This is something we're going to be doing occasionally, a couple times a month. We're in construction for our new studio, and
it's going to be a long construction. Unfortunately,
even after it's built and you see it, it's still not going to be. We're not built. Even you'll see it on this planet, but that's not where we're building it.
That's right, because we sort of, with I feel, Alex, like with the studio that we had, it was like the Tower of Babel. It was sort of this building that sort of represented our hubris. We sort of flew too close to the sun, and then it fell apart.
Man, and it's been both brutal and exciting to be out here in the wilderness, freezing to death. I want to say before we sort of acknowledge the Nightcrawlers, I want to say, I don't know if you've been feeling this, Eric, the last couple months, but what I've been feeling is this. It's that feeling. I kind of feel like I'm crazy, but it's like I'm freeze. It's like I'm out here. We've been kicked out of our studio, but it's like that moment in Fight Club where Brad Pitt, who ends up being Ed Norton, spoiler alert, is.
I haven't seen. I was going to watch that this weekend, but never mind. But anyways.
Well, I was. No, it's
just go ahead.
It's still good.
Fine.
It's still good. Well, okay, well, I can't remember what I was going to say. Nightcrawlers, man, it's great to see you guys.
And by the way, we've got all the usuals here, and Skin Slip and Dr. Watney and Matt in Los Angeles sort of re-upped their subscription. So thank you so much. Without your support, we would just be eating complete, utter garbage.
And just to qualify that, more often than we regularly do.
Yeah, and by the way, if you're watching right now and you're not a subscriber, we encourage you to subscribe, because the faster Alex and I are making $10,000 a week, the sooner that we can sort of stop just eating crap, and we can rebuild our studio, and we can finally accomplish some of the goals that we've set for ourselves.
Let me say this, guys. I want to give some shout outs. Eric, it is great to see Dr. Watney, Skin Slip, Matt in Los Angeles, Hippie Steve, Ed Toast.
Hippie Steve.
Man.
All the guys and the gals.
It's hard to be apart, but it's exciting to be back together. Tonight's a night about being together as paranormal enthusiasts, investigators, and setting our agenda for the year. It's going to be an ambitious agenda. But Eric, man, we got to tell them what's. Let's tell them. Let's share the link for the Dark in the Night Creed. Tonight we're doing something very exciting, a little bit experimental for us. Maybe explain it, Eric, while I pull up the link here.
Yep. So we've realized that we need a creed. All philosophies and major movements throughout the 20th and 21st centuries have contained mission statements, so to speak. And so what we're doing is we set up a Google Doc. We're going to share the link here in a minute, and it's going to be open source, which means that all of you watching can get on the Google Doc and write your thoughts sort of in a exquisite corpse style, if you've ever done one of those drawings, what you think the Dark of the Night creed should be. And then Alex and I are assuming that that's going to be sort of an amazing work of art, and we'll sort through it and then kind of crystallize the good parts, and then we'll all sort of create that together.
Dr. Wantney says it's view only. Eric, jump on that.
Okay.
Let me...
Always, man, it's always something.
You know, and as conspiracy theorists, it's unfortunately that we also can't stop using Google because the only thing that they are getting as a return in all their free services is just all the data about everything in our lives, and they know everything we do, and they know all of our secrets. But they have so much free gigabytes of space, and I like sending, sometimes I'll send Eric a song.
Alex, I just sent the link to you in the chat.
In the Hangouts chat, Eric. Okay.
Yes.
So, Eric, we got a question a minute ago. I'm gonna go ahead and send that.
Okay.
Eric, what is your favorite Creed song?
Well, I really, I've gotten into sports over the last month and a half, and partly because sports are like abstract art, which I'm not into abstract art, but I like the fact that it's simple. I like the fact that you can take your mind off of the problems of the paranormal, and for just a second, you can do something sort of mindless. Well, one really awesome thing happened a couple of years ago. Scott Stapp from Creed, he's an amazing songwriter. He wrote and adapted a Creed song to be the Florida Marlins, which is a baseball team, to be their theme song. And so it's a Marlins soar, which seems like an oxymoron because Marlins don't soar, they swim. But the song is incredible. It'll move you to tears. What about you, Alex?
Marlon Soar. I mean, you showed me that song. I was very, I was upset and entertained at the same time. Man, you know what? Arms Wide Open. Like I don't even have to. I don't have to think twice about it. I'll tell you why. It's like quick. And tonight's a little bit. Just side note about what the town hall is about. Tonight is a little bit of a Q&A. It is a little bit of like what's going on, what is our, it's like, okay, we did a lot of good paranormal investigative work in 2018, but what's our favorite Creed song?
And it's a Q&A that, if everything goes right, it could feature a little T&A.
Well, I mean, don't spoil it. Arms Wide Open. Creed, circa 1999, jumped right onto MTV with What If on the Scream 2 soundtrack. And man, was that a great use of drop D tuning on a bass guitar. Because it was, because they, he was able to just go right up the from a root to a fifth to the octave, without even having to move one finger. And so he was able to just sort of, it's called pedaling when you, I'm not going to get into too much technicality. Arms Wide Open. So let's talk about what's happened to, well, first of all, guys, again, so great to see you. It's been hard. Eric, it's been hard, right?
It's been very hard. Many of you know, like, you might be looking at me right now, and if you're accustomed to watching Dark of the Night, you might be saying, Eric, where's your crystal? And just a quick story here. Alex, I was actually with family in Florida because I do have one sister, and she lets me come down there and live in her garage for months at a time when I need a break from the city. And so I was living in our garage in Florida, and Alex was actually putting the padlock on the studio. He was putting the final touches on us moving out. And Alex, maybe you can you talk a little bit about what happened at the same simultaneously when you locked up the studio?
While Eric is down with his sister, I mean, imagine this sort of cross-cut like a movie. I'm kind of just sitting on a folding chair that we're going to throw out.
And I'm in the garage just sort of rocking back and forth on like an old gasoline
and I was just kind of
can.
listening to ambient music and painting scratches that we did on the wall white. And not a lot happened physically or spiritually, but I did sit and I was tired and I didn't want to leave just because it takes me an hour to get home from the studio.
Well, yeah, but there was more to it. Remember, like, what happened right after you left?
Jesus. There was an explosion. Literally, the moment that I almost... It was such a sort of... It felt so anticlimactic the way... This is absolutely 100% true. And I couldn't believe it. I finished painting the rest of the scratches on the studio as we vacated. I went downstairs to catch a ride home, and there was an explosion in a power plant in Queens. And, that's what they said it was.
It was national news.
And they said it was an explosion. But, Eric, what my driver... I spent the rest of my money taking a car home. It was $27. And you know what my driver said to me?
What?
She said, "I hope it's not a UFO." And I said, without pausing, it is. I live on 7th Street.
And so while this happens, my crystal, it fell right off of the chain. And if that isn't some sort of paranormal connection, I don't know what is. If that's not like a wow moment, I give up. Because I bought that thing off Amazon, and it was meant... those things don't just
And again,
fall
as
apart.
conspiracy theorists, I just want to point out that we're both extremely embarrassed that we can't stop using Google or shopping from Amazon. Because it's really... I mean, they have everything on us. I mean, they're... Man... But I mean,
yeah. If ever we were to actually find something that was a secret, Google and Amazon would sort of know it immediately.
Well, let's say that part 2 of what happened to us, because it is a crazy... A lot more happened to us than we personally thought was going to. Over the last month, that had to do with the studio, leaving it, and dealing with the people who didn't want us to leave.
Yeah. The hippie Steve said, "Go fund me for a new crystal." Well, look, we're still trying to just pay for the old studio. I mean, we're not proud of this, but we did not pay our last month, and so, in a sense, Alex and I are sort of being hunted by our landlord.
Yeah, I mean, and when Eric says "in a sense," he means just we're being hunted by our landlord.
Yeah, and so Alex and I, that's part of the reason why we're doing this remote, is we have to be very careful about when we're seen together, because, like, if our landlord catches us one at a time, then there's a better opportunity that the other one will sort of live to see another day. So we're doing this remotely for now, in part because we are being hunted, but also we feel like, for the time being, that it's good to sort of disambiguate Dark of the Night in a sense. what do you think? Can you maybe elucidate a little bit?
One of the
Alex?
things we want to do tonight on our town hall is we want to talk about, we want to set some goals for the year, as we do every year on our paranormal town hall, and we have goals that are philosophical. We have goals that are, more just like, Eric and I do want to go to the gym together and Spot and just start going to the gym, and I want to see him. I want to go to the gym with Eric for 3 months, and I want to be able to look at him and be like, he looks better, and I want him to look at me and say, you look good, and
we want to use those ropes, and Alex hold on to one end, and I hold on to the other.
All sorts of stuff you see in just sort of different highlight reels for athletes. But in addition to that, we have some goals. We have goals with the show, and one of the things that we're talking about doing a couple more shows a week. We're going to do, in addition to Dark the Night, we're going to do. Eric's going to have a show, and I'm going to have a show. And that's pretty exciting.
Which sounds crazy.
It does sound crazy. In fact, I almost want to be like two. I almost wish I was two people so I could look at myself and be like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. I mean, to barely be able to make one show good, an experienced broadcaster might look at us. A Don Imus, for example, might look at us and say, like, maybe make one show good before you expand to 3 shows. But hey, fortune favors the bold, okay?
And Don Imus, and make no mistake, Don Imus is bold. Man, I'm gonna open the floor. We want to hear your Q&A for us. We want to hear some stuff you want to see from the show this year. But I also want to say, Eric, what are some goals that you have? Let's begin this town hall. What do you want to see from this show? What do you want to see from both of us this year?
Well, what I want to see from the show is I want to see some. I want to get deep. I want to go really deep. And what I mean by that is emotionally deep, psychologically deep, deep in terms of the sort of truths we're talking, with the deep in sort of what we're sharing. I mean, I challenge anybody. You guys are watching this show on Twitch for a reason. You could go into the browse section of Twitch and find a million. I'm doing a video game.
It's like, I just went shopping.
But is somebody gonna tell you about how their father slapped them at a birthday party when he was 10, and I was humiliated, and I cried in front of all my friends.
This is a crazy story because, just to be clear, what Eric just said is Eric's father slapped Eric at a birthday party when his father was 10.
My father and I were 10 at the same time. And that's one of the things that made me so committed to the paranormal is I was just like, that seems impossible. How do I come to terms with that? And I'm still, that's one of the big mysteries in life I want to solve. And you're not going to find that on another Twitch channel. Somebody, whatever they're doing.
It's like they're making Scream 5. And so, Eric, is that one of the in your show, because we haven't discussed this, like what are we going to do in our individual air times on the channel.
Yeah.
Is that sort
Right.
of what we can expect? Because I'm going to be just as much as a nightcrawler as everyone else when I'm tuning into your show. Are we going to get to hear kind of some of your personal history and some of those paranormal experiences that made Eric Yearwood who he is?
Well, I think so, because I think that, first of all, we're just going to have some time to
Right,
fill.
because it's like maybe you do one episode and it's like I bought jeans this week.
Yeah. I think that that's part of what's fun, is that with more airtime, you can get as kind of intimate or just goofing
That sounds good.
around as you want. Yeah. But another focus for me, though, is that I have become a little bit of a hacker. And you know this, Alex, about me. Your sort of expertise lies in the realm of cinema and philosophy, and mine sort of orbits around some of the mystical arts and new media. And so I've learned how to code in virtual reality, and so I'm going to be bringing that into my show, and I'm going to be sharing some of my virtual reality experiments with the Nightcrawlers.
It sounds like we're about to see, not Heisenberg from Breaking Bad, but the other Heisenberg, or a scientist. Let's just say a scientist. It sounds like we're about to see just like a live streaming of a pair of parascience. That is exciting. And I'm gonna do something to show how excited I am. I knocked my hat off.
What are you doing?
Because
you're crazy.
There's if yeah, because no,
are you kidding
I
me?
mean it, man. Because you just blew my fucking brain out the back of my fucking ass. Because so my hat was on the floor for about 10 seconds there, and believe me, I almost had a genuine stroke. I almost had 2 aneurysms. You know what my dad used to say when he would start to stutter, he'd say, I'm having 2 aneurysms and a stroke, and it was.
That seems sort of scary, I would think, unless you're accustomed to it, which after it happened a few times,
it was always
I guess you would be.
And one of the reasons it was off-putting is he committed to the, to say, he did make that he repeated that as if it was an inside joke that we all enjoyed, but no,
That's
it
not
wasn't
good.
even. It was upsetting. It was consistently upsetting.
Well, let me ask you. I want to ask you about your show, Alex. But before we do, let's check in with the Nightcrawlers here. There's a couple of questions. We'll just kind of go down the list. Ed Toe says, I want to see an on-site episode where y'all chase skinwalkers in Oklahoma.
Jesus, now that sounds fun.
Yeah. In Oklahoma, of all places. I've never been there. But I've heard of some serious spooky stuff
now,
going on
skinwalkers. Now that is a kind of werewolf. It's a southwestern / southern kind of really derives from Native American culture description of the werewolf species.
And haven't those poor people had enough already?
Part of me wants to be like as an American, as one of the I don't want to say privileged, but I want to I own 2 cowboy hats, so
And I own a car full of newspapers.
So, but I want to say, Native American paranormal investigators, you can have the skinwalkers. So we'll see. We'll see if we can let's see if we can sort of negotiate if there's a way that we can collaborate. We don't want to do anything that's in bad taste. We respect different paranormal communities around the country.
But I think part of it seems what the hippie who said that Ed Toast?
Skin Slip, right?
No, I think just because it said skinwalkers,
don't
seems
say
like it would
skin
be
to me
something
twice, because
skin on skin is what I'm digging in. But no, yeah, it was Ed Toast. I think part of what maybe he was getting at is the Nightcrawlers would like to see more field pieces.
I would love to do that. I think that's a good goal for this year. We're working on one of the things that Eric and I are kind of working on this year we will be having some remote shows, is that kind of by having a little bit more flexibility there, we can spend a little bit more time doing some stuff on the every other week that's a little bit more ambitious.
Yeah. And also we are working on a promotional video for Dark of the Night, and which is going to be really exciting. We spent some time last weekend working on it, and we've put a lot of energy into this, haven't we, Alex?
One of the things that we would love to be able to take you guys, the Nightcrawlers, onto a larger platform so that we can just get our outreach about, I want to be able to say to as many people as possible, Chewbacca, Chewbacca isn't, stay away from Chewbacca.
Yeah. I want to be able to stand toe-to-toe with the Geraldos and the Mauries and the John Walsh from Rescue 911 and say, I'm one of you.
Look Steve Carell in the eyes and say, where's the bathroom?
Yeah. I want to look Adam Carolla in the face and say, Crank Acres was so good. Well, why did you let it go?
I mean, I would love to be out in a room in a focus group, and I say this as a anti-corporate paranormal investigator. I want to be able to get into a room with some writers on the promo team for Nickelodeon and say, what the fuck are you guys doing with my promo? I want to just be able to boss them around.
Yeah, and so this promo we're working on, it's got some really exciting footage of Alex and I in a graveyard doing some stuff that we don't want to sort of spill the beans too much, but I think you're going to enjoy it. Another question that came down the pipe here was, which one of you guys is going to do more street interviews?
Huh. Well,
we one of the things we want to continue to do is Sandpiper owes us a lot of money. And I would actually, this is a question for you guys, the Nightcrawlers. Do you like Sandpiper or do you not? Do you like seeing him on the show, or is he annoying? Because it's 50-50 for us. Sometimes we just want to mash his head into the ground like a cantaloupe. And then sometimes we're like, oh, yay, he's doing some stuff of value for us. So that's good. But, he usually is our sort of street correspondent. And so the question remains, do we want to continue to see Sandpiper out there in the street, or what do you think? Get rid of the bum is what Unopposed Beetle has to say.
And that's, what we're considering, just to illustrate things, Sandpiper. What's that, Eric?
No, I was just, Ed Toast says Suck Piper. Which is creative.
He is kind of, in a way, he is Suck Piper. But what we were considering, one of the things that we're considering in terms of, and let me say this before I get into, we are considering the idea of giving Sandpiper a weekly slot on the Dark of the Night channel. We're also considering, sort of letting, taking care of that guy, if you know what I mean, sort of running him off the phone.
Yeah, to be frank with you guys, Alex and I have been discussing, in addition to doing our weekly show on Wednesday nights and then an additional hour each on other nights of the week, we have thought about, for a very limited 4-week period, giving Sandpiper his own show on a 4th night of the week. So that way you'd be getting 4 nights of Dark of the Night.
And
throughout the week.
part of me hears that idea and thinks, well, when am I gonna, if you're doing that many shows, I love the show. I'm thinking what the Nightcrawlers are thinking. I love your show, but when am I gonna do my paranormal investigating?
I mean, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Lay off. Everybody.
Yeah. I wasn't saying that to play devil's advocate. I was sort of teeing that up so we could sort of bat that away and say, well, not fuck off, but sort of suck it.
Sure, suck off. Until you've walked a mile in our shoes, then you can't really critique our methods, because we haven't caught any major creatures and cryptids or paranormal entities yet, but we will.
Well, let me. So Eric, I'm going to ask you something quick so that I can sort of assemble a little bit of check in with the Dark of the Night creed. But
yeah.
So what else? Just tell me one other thing, kind of, that you would like to. What's one more of your ambitions with the show this year?
And by the way, Alex, for those of you who have joined us recently here, we are doing tonight, we're putting together the Dark of the Night Creed, which is sort of our paranormal mission statement. And why don't we post the link again in the chat for people who have just joined us, and you can get on this Google Doc, folks. It's a public Google Doc. You can get on, and we want you to add to this sort of this Mad Libs, so to speak, of a mission statement for us. In terms of your last question, Alex, about what else I would like to see from this season of the show, I guess I would like to see the Nightcrawlers sort of bloom. I would like to give voice to the voiceless at some level. Some of you guys have been so supportive. Everything from, Dr. Watney being a great chat moderator. Actually, to be honest, I don't know that she's actually ever really done anything other than, I think one time she maybe banned somebody. But
she's blown our asses out of the water.
She has blown our asses out of the water. But we, translations and Matt in Los Angeles have featured us on their show. And so we would like to pay that back. It'd be great to feature some of you guys on Dark of the Night. Maybe, for those of you that are interested in being a guest, either by phone or by video call, let us know, because we'd love to sort of platform you, hear what your thoughts are. I'd also love to bring back phone calls in one way or another. We sometimes have people call in and say not so nice things about people that are different from them. And so sometimes we have to suspend the phone calls or think about some sort of a better way to do it. But that has always been a hallmark part of the show, and we want to bring it back. Wouldn't you say that's true, Alex?
I think a big part of the show is just reaching out you know, at the end of the day, the paranormal search, the search for truth, the search for what's really out there, the search for, where does Sasquatch live? Is it a cave, or is it just some kind of, little, does he just kind of sleep near a tree? Well, why does that matter? Well, it matters to us humans, and we need to build a community so that, when we find out that Sasquatch, is coming after us, and he has either a knife or some kind of like a gun or something, so that we can kind of get together and say, we don't like that guy.
Yeah. Here, the question that Alex and I were asking ourselves on our last Sasquatch hunt, does Sasquatch piss upriver or piss downriver? And you might say to yourself, well, who the gives a shit? Well, hello, Galileo looked up into the sky and he said, does the earth rotate around the sun, or does the sun rotate around the earth? What does it matter, is what people said. It matters a heck of a lot. And so these little things that seem trivial, they're not. They're
not even close.
They're meaningful.
I mean, it's really just a matter of it's really just a matter of who does the truth matter to? It matters to human beings. We are together in this, and so night crawlers, it's us together. If we can't, as a community, get together and say, wow, UFOs are crazy looking, then who's going to say that? Because then if we don't say that, then they're just going to be crazy looking and no one's going to talk about it.
I also think too, guys, the night crawlers, Dark the Night, we are sort of a transnational, sort of trans community that is global. It transcends, national borders or whatever. We are like an underground global movement that we're like brothers and sisters of the night. And when it's 1 a.m., 2 a.m. in the morning and you're freaked out and maybe you're a little hopped up on some household chemicals that you've been huffing through a sock, and you want to know whether cry or scream or shit your pants all at the same time, and you just want somebody to reach out and touch you and say that goblins aren't clawing. You're literally hearing things at the door like clawing sounds. You can reach out to your night crawlers and say, hey buddy, I got you. I don't literally got you, and maybe I probably won't ever see you, and I can't help if something goes wrong, but I got you. So,
and that's the value, is just to sort of be able to send a text completely obligation free to someone. It's like there's something in my house and it's coming after me. To be able to get a text is just someone says it's completely sort of, it's almost a meaningless gesture. It's you could basically have a bot send you the same line of text, but you know that there's a real human being on the other end that could pass the Turing test that says I got you. And again, it's basically like me writing a check to someone that says $100 trillion, because it doesn't mean they're not going to do a thing. But just getting
but when you have
isn't it fun to get a text though?
Yeah. And when you got enough of those people doing that, I mean, that's really something.
10, 12 texts you haven't read. Even if you've got somebody in the house with you, if you've gotten those texts in the last couple minutes, you tell me that even though it's like there's an intruder in my home. It's like, whoa, I just got 12 texts. I mean, come on. Tell me I have my.
You can face your death with dignity at that.
It's
point.
almost like you're gonna look at that intruder, whether it's a goblin or just a robber, and you're gonna say, "Well, who the fuck is that guy? He didn't get 12 texts now." Let's look over it.
And maybe you did.
I mean, and then
so,
in that case, you kind of be like, "Well, I guess that doesn't mean as much as I thought it did." So here's kind of the Eric. If you look at the Twitch feed, this is the advance we've made on the Dark of the Night Creed so far. It's something I've cobbled together from some of the entries. So the Dark of the Night Creed, and this is not complete yet. Always search for the truth. I'll show you everything. Sort of mindless. Now, the sort of mindless thing, I was on the fence, and we may call an audible and pull that out of there. But I have an interpretation of it, and that's why I kept it in. I think the value of the mind, strictly speaking, is overstated. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, hey, it's like if I go up to someone, like let's say I wake up and I'm in a great mood, and I say, you know what, I'm gonna tell my neighbor that it's Halloween and I feel generous today. I'm gonna tell him to stay inside because there's more vampires outside than usual because it's Halloween. He might say to me, "What, are you out of your fucking mind?" So,
yeah. And
what I'm saying is what it's like. What's so great about a mind, Dick? You stupid shithead. Yeah, I mean,
right. What is so great?
And
about
that's
a
why
mind?
I think people think too rationally about things, and so it's like, I'll show you everything, sort of mindless. So it's you know what I mean. It's like we're going beyond the mind, with arms wide open. And just to be clear, I'll show you everything with arms wide open. Those are just plagiarized Creed lyrics, but it's not wrong. It's not wrong. If the Dark of the Night Creed ended up being verbatim one of either the chorus or one of the verses from Arms Wide Open, I would say, well, that's the song did really well. It was played all over the place on the radio, so it's not a bad place to end up with a Creed.
No, Alex. Will you look at the Google Doc real quick?
Sure.
Because I'm seeing something I feel like you need to see.
Well, oh my God. Well, let me bring this into view for everyone. Because this is not good.
I don't know if this is somebody playing a trick on us or if this is. But if this is serious, we've got a little bit of a problem.
Okay. Yeah.
If you guys are in the Google Doc goofing around, this is not the time to. This is not the time to. This isn't a funny thing.
Okay. This is not. Okay. So, I mean, everyone can see this.
You could just pan it.
I wish that was true, Eric.
Oh, okay. Well,
I mean, this is not good at all. let me say this. Let me say this.
Yeah.
I am so let me just read this. Eric and Alex, this is your landlord. You better pay me back the money you owe me for the studio, you fucks. I'm going to sue you and then I'm going to stab you. And I mean, if that can't be true, man. It can't be true, man. Yeah.
What?
They couldn't. They didn't find us.
Listen, landlord, you flippin' freak. You stay away from us. We don't owe you anything. Because you know what? We took good care of that studio, and it's not our fault that we're not celebrities like we told you we were going to be. And we can't, we can't pay you the money. So what? Someday we are going to have so much money it's been coming out of our eyeballs. And then we're going to stab you.
There for a second, Eric.
Look, well, I'm not going to let any negativity encroach on what is sort of our town hall, and it's not a season premiere. It's a soft launch.
It's a hello 2019, but I mean, that being said, it feels like somebody just pointed. It feels like somebody just took a brand new, sturdy stack of printer paper and just kind of rolled it up and.
Yeah, I know where you're going with that.
And those things are. I mean, if somebody really kind of took a stack of printer paper and just sort of, rolled it up and just sort of jammed it into you,
it would hurt. Man, like everybody's, people on. I can't tell if people are concerned about this on the chat or if they're not. They're talking about making a subreddit. For what? Will all help with the stabbing. Dr. Whitney says she made a Dark of the Night subreddit. Is that true, or is she just being nice?
Yeah, because
if she actually did that's the nicest thing probably anybody's ever done for us.
I want to try to. I'd love to, Eric, keep an eye on whether Dr. Watney's just sort of, in this post-truth era. I can't tell you how many times somebody's told me that they've started a subreddit that I'd be interested in.
You're talking about post-truth. The night crawlers have been so true to us. I think that the most heartbreaking thing. I think if I found out that Dr. Watney was somebody that she's not, like if maybe she was a Russian oligarch or something, it would be one of the most heartbreaking. I think at that point I might be like, okay, come get me, Chupacabra, and just chew my intestines out just throw me away.
You can't think like that at the beginning of, I know it's February, but you can't think like that at the beginning. The paranormal new year just happened. And so really this is the start of 2019 for us. And Eric, you cannot think like that, man. Dr. Watney is definitely a doctor, and and her name is definitely Watney. legally. And if it wasn't,
So
I would literally I would roll myself up like a like like one of those kinds of like vinyl curtains that you can kind of pull on and it rolls up into a stack. I would roll myself up like that, and then I would hire someone to bury me in the middle of a desert, and then shoot just shoot the ground where I was buried, because I would be I would be so sad.
Well, you're right. We got to focus on the positive. One of the things that makes me positive and makes me excited is we're only going to be doing remote episodes.
That's right.
Part of the time, and then part of the time we are going to be together.
I think I just need to share with people a little bit more of the plan, because this episode is about sort of sharing some information about what's coming up, and I'm glad you brought this up. We're building a new Dark of the Night studio. I'm actually in it right now. It's a completely blank space. You can see my keyboard and a second hat that I own. It's a smaller space than our studio, and but it's a new home base, and Eric and I will be doing shows together. We're probably going to do remote shows for the next couple of weeks, just because I am still, building it. But one thing I wanted to say, Eric, is I wanted to talk about kind of what my plan for my show was.
Yeah, I didn't mean to skip over that. Tell us, please.
So I am, as you know, Eric, sort of a paranormal intellectual. Okay, you really paused. You didn't. You didn't say anything right away. So I don't know if you know that anymore.
It goes without saying.
Okay, good. So I am a paranormal intellectual, and one of the things in our Dark of the Night episodes, a lot of times we are covering stuff that's topical, like, is there a coming space war? What can we do about the new witchcraft craze? Stuff that's, when a new Star Wars movie comes out, we want to let people know, how to, if there's a safe way to sort of, do something to Chewbacca. And what we don't get to do the deep dives, the intellectual deep dives on paranormal topics, like, what are the different kind of aliens that are visiting the planet? You know what I mean? What are the different aspects of what are the different kind of ghosts that can affect a house? Where are you supposed to, like, should you keep your grandma in a shoebox or in a crate? And these are what I'm saying is I was thinking about sort of making my class sort of a paranormal academy, where you can really get your paranormal education and really get that kind of insider knowledge. Like, just for example, there's a video game for PS2 called Cameras Obscura, and it's about taking pictures of ghosts. Well, that's all well and good if you're Japanese. You're happy to have a PlayStation 2 and just take picture of ghosts. But how do you really take pictures of ghosts? Well, stop over at Alex Myers, paranormal show, and learn how to really take a picture of a ghost with a wide angle lens or zoomed in on it.
That sounds great. I think it's exciting because you're sort of bringing this educational dimension to what we're doing, and then I'm bringing sort of this technological exploration, and then the meal of Dark of the Night, our weekly shows where you and I are connecting together, is sort of like, okay, now let's just sort of connect with each other. And look, that's what it's all about.
I just wanted to, not to tune out on you, Eric, but I just saw something else on this little note.
What?
So let's just wait.
Wait a minute.
So Eric and Alex. Sorry, I'm new to the world of operating the internet. Eric and Alex, this is your landlord. You better pay me back the money you owe me for the studio, you fucks. I'm going to sue you, and then I'm going to stab you. And then if you scroll down just a little bit, it says, in real life. But then if you scroll down a little bit more, with a real knife.
Oh.
So those are the two, if somebody says they're going to stab me, the two questions I'm going to ask them is, in real life? And if they say yes, I'm going to say with a real knife. And if they say yes, then they've checked all the boxes, and now I'm scared.
Well, I mean, the only silver lining there is it's sort of mitigated by the following text. Right afterwards, it says, someone wrote, friends through eternity, loyalty, honesty, will stay together through thick or thin, which is really sweet. And then someone wrote, Dragon Sound rules, which sort of just says, I'm not taking this seriously. And then the person after that says, I like turtles, which is just like a sort of a meme. And so, I don't know whether to celebrate the fact that we've got all these different threads, everything from I'm so serious about this that I'm threatening violence against you, to I think that this is so stupid and worthless that I'm going to just write something that I would write on like a bathroom stall.
Well, you got to dig. You got to dig. As always, Eric, you got to dig.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Right.
Well, let me show you what I've put together, because if you do dig, what you get is something pretty powerful.
Okay. Go on. I'm sort of titillated now.
Okay, here we go. This is my pitch for the Dark of the Night Creed. Aggregated.
Okay, here we go. Guys, drum roll.
Always search for the truth. Friends through eternity. Loyalty. Honesty. We'll stay together through thick or thin. I'll show you everything with arms wide open. I'll stab you.
Yeah, hey, it came from our group mind, and so I think we kind of got to honor that and respect that.
I just want to read.
Now, I'm a little
sorry, Eric.
I'm a little concerned that it doesn't say anything about the paranormal, and I feel like it's the kind of thing that if someone read that, they'd be like, "What the hell kind of show are you guys running?" But
you know what? Let's add. You know who hasn't added to this, Eric? Us.
Who's that? That's really good. When you're right, you're
So
right.
I'm going to add a couple things.
Okay.
And I think we're going to be pretty happy with what we see.
And while Alex is working on that, I'm just going to review some of what people are talking about in the chat. It seems like people are saying, I won't defecate. CPC says, I won't defecate in a stall. It feels too confined, which is the kind of thing that a hippie might say. You really captured Scott Stapp's spirit, Hippie Steve said. Matt967 says, that's not very effective stab technique. Boy, it's not usual. We have two Matts in the chat at the same time. Matt in Los Angeles is sort of got to run for his money.
Yeah, two Matts is what we call a paranormal event. It's
Right.
It's a lot of Matts.
It's an event horizon.
Eric, let me pitch this to you. We are
Okay.
the night crawlers. I'm going to make a little adjustment here to make it a little bit more Creed-like. We are the night crawlers. We will always search for the paranormal truth. Friends through eternity, loyalty, honesty. We'll stay together through thick or thin. I'll show you everything with arms wide open. I'll stab you.
And I love it. I'm just because I think it'd be appropriate if I maybe just put in a line. So what about
tell me what
arms-
just because I have this little document open.
how about second to last line, here comes a ghost.
Second, I see what you're doing there. Second to last line. Here comes a ghost. So what's happening there, if I'm tracking you, and I think I am, Eric, is that we are now switching sort of the way we're, a lot of times we're talking about we, and then we sort of stray away from talking in the first person. But then it's like I'm talking to the ghost directly at the end there, right?
It's like Faulkner.
I think that's really good. I think that's really, really good. I mean, we are an original. There's never been an organization as powerful and as truthful as the Nightcrawlers. And so we want not just to have some bullshit stereotypical poem that, you'd read at like summer camp that's like, here we are. We will be great campers, I won't, steal money out of the drawer at Kmart if I work there. Whatever kind of stuff you want to, normal stuff you agree to. On a show like this, that's pushing the envelope at every level, metaphysically, psychologically, truthfully, you don't want a normal creed. You want one that sort of strays into different, literary POVs. And so you want to be able to say, here comes a ghost, I'll stab you. And within those two lines, you're not using punctuation, but, you're suddenly talking to the ghost.
I dare say it's almost Stappian,
It is. Yeah.
if you will, as in sort of
Yeah,
Scott
and there's a
Stapp.
couple lines from with Arms Wide Open in there, just for good measure.
Yeah.
And that's egalitarian. It's like Scott Stapp could very well be a Nightcrawler.
Yeah, for all we know,
maybe
he's
fucking
sitting at
put
home
that in there.
watching. Yeah, maybe he did. Maybe he's our landlord, threatening us. And
Man, that would be truly That would be truly awful.
well, Alex, look, we're getting to sort of the home stretch here on tonight's episode, and folks, for some of the negativity with regard to the landlord stabbing us and whatnot is disconcerting, but I want you to know that all in all, Alex and I are positive for 2019. We are being hunted. We are being chased. We can't be seen together in the way that we want, but we will continue to build. We've had everything taken away from us, the studio, our sort of, dignity. But we're building, and over the next few weeks, you're going to see the quality of the show start to just get stronger and stronger and stronger until it's going to explode forth in a sort of Vesuvian eruption, a bacchanal of joyous paranormal truth-telling. So stick around over the next month or two.
For the first time, I'm really excited to do this. For the first time in Dark of the Night history, I invite you to repeat after me. Eric, I'm going to feed you the lines.
Okay.
And everyone together at home, repeat after me. And Eric, you can lead them. You can lead the Nightcrawlers at home.
And believe us, we will know if you're not saying it out loud. And we're not going to tell you how we know that, but believe us, we do.
We are the Nightcrawlers.
We are the Nightcrawlers.
We will always search for the paranormal truth.
I know that this is really bad form. Should we have some sort of, kind of, because it's not appropriate to do like a Roman salute or something like that.
You know what makes sense to me, Eric? I think that's absolutely appropriate. I think at the end, as a punctuation,
okay,
we're going to come back.
All right,
we're going to come.
Okay,
we're going to start again, and at the end, I'm going to switch over to the screen so everyone can read along. And at the end, we will do. Let's straight up steal the Roman salute. Just. That's fine.
That's kind of the Klingon.
We are the Nightcrawlers.
We are the Nightcrawlers.
We will always search for the paranormal truth.
We will always search for the paranormal truth.
Friends through eternity, loyalty, honesty.
Friends through eternity, loyalty, honesty.
We'll stay together through thick or thin.
We'll stay together through thick or thin.
I'll show you everything with arms wide open.
I'll show you everything with arms wide open.
Here comes a ghost.
Here comes a ghost. I'll stab you.
Man, that felt really, really, not to curse, but that felt really fucking good.
It did.
We have this is a quiet beginning to what's going to be an explosive season, and I'm excited to be here with you, Nightcrawlers. I'm excited to be here with you, Eric.
Yeah, folks, thank you for joining us tonight on sort of our soft launch town hall. Please stay engaged with us throughout the week. on our Discord. And if you see any sightings, if you see any paranormal activity occurring in your neck of the woods, we want to know about it. And we will see you back here for another episode of Dark of the Night next
We'll
week.
see you next Wednesday at 10:30, folks. We will be in touch.
From the deepest depths of the dark web, dark of the night.